Derivation of Trigonometric Ratios for 30 \circ dollar and 60 \circ dollar. Welcome, everyone. In our previous lessons, we explored the fundamentals of trigonometry, specifically learning how to calculate trigonometric ratios for any given right-angled triangle using the lengths of its sides. However, as you progress in your studies, you will notice that in both mathematics and physics, certain specific angles, namely 30 degrees and 60 degrees, appear much more frequently than others in complex problems. Because these angles are so fundamental, it is not enough to just know their approximate decimal values. We need to know their exact, precise values. In this session, we are going to move beyond simple calculation. We will use a geometric approach to derive the exact trigonometric ratios for 30 degrees and 60 degrees. To do this, we will utilize the unique properties of an equilateral triangle, which will allow us to break down the geometry into right-angled components that we can analyze step by step. The geometric construction. Now that we've established our goal of finding exact values for these specific angles, let's move on to the geometric construction. To derive these ratios, we aren't going to start with just any random triangle. Instead, we will begin with a very specific geometric figure, an equilateral triangle. Let's look at step 1, where we define our triangle. Imagine or draw an equilateral triangle and label the vertices A, B, and C. Now, remember the fundamental properties of an equilateral triangle. By definition, all of its sides are equal in length, and all of its internal angles are exactly 60 degrees. To make our later calculations easier, especially when we split the triangle in the next step, let's assign a variable to the side length. Let the length of each side be 2a. Because it is equilateral, this means that side AB, side BC, and side AC are all equal to 2a consequently. The angles at vertex A, vertex B, and vertex C are all 60 degrees. Keep this setup in mind, because in the next slide, we are going to transform this equilateral triangle into a right-angled triangle. Step 2. Create a right-angled triangle. Now that we have established our equilateral triangle with all sides equal to 2a, we run into a small problem. As we discussed in the previous slide, trigonometric ratios are specifically defined for right-angled triangles. However, our triangle ABC is equilateral, meaning all its angles are 60 degrees. To move forward with our derivation, we need to create a right angle. We can achieve this by drawing a perpendicular line, also known as an altitude, starting from vertex A and dropping straight down to the opposite side, BC. Let's mark the point where this line meets the base as point D. By doing this, we have ensured that AD is perpendicular to BC, effectively splitting our original triangle into two smaller right-angled triangles that we can now analyze. Step 3. Analyze the resulting triangles. Now that we have drawn our altitude, let's take a closer look at what has happened to our original triangle. You'll notice that the altitude, AD, effectively splits our large equilateral triangle, ABC, into two perfectly identical or congruent right-angled triangles, triangle ABD and triangle ACD. To make our derivation much simpler, we don't need to study both. We can just focus our analysis on one of them. Let's pick triangle ABD. Let's identify the specific measurements we have within triangle ABD. First, because we constructed AD to be perpendicular to the base, the angle at D, which is angle ADB, is exactly 90 degrees. Second, looking back at our original equilateral triangle from the previous slide, we know that angle B is 60 degrees. Third, here is a very important property to remember. In an equilateral triangle, the altitude doesn't just drop straight down, it also bisects or cuts in half the vertex angle. Since the original angle at A was 60 degrees, the altitude splits it into two equal parts, meaning angle BAD is now 30 degrees. Fourth, let's identify our hypotenuse. As we defined in the previous step, the side OB is the original side of our equilateral triangle, so its length is 2a. Finally, let's look at the base. Just as the altitude bisected the top angle, it also bisects the base, BC. Since the full base was 2a, the segment BD is exactly half of that, which is simply a. Now that we have all these side lengths and angles clearly identified, we are in the perfect position to use the Pythagoras theorem in the next slide to find the length of that missing altitude. Step 4. Calculate the length of the altitude add. Now that we have identified all the side lengths of our right-angled triangle, specifically triangle ABD, we need to find the length of the altitude, AD, which we don't know yet. To do this, we will apply the Pythagoras theorem to triangle ABD. Starting with our formula, the square of the hypotenuse, which is side OB, is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides, AD and BD. Let's substitute the values we identified in the previous slide. We know that the hypotenuse OB is 2a and the base BD is simply a, so our equation becomes 2a squared equals AD squared plus a squared. When we expand the left side, squaring 2a gives us 4a squared. So the equation now reads 4a squared equals AD squared plus a squared. To isolate our unknown, we'll subtract a squared from both sides of the equation. This leaves us with AD squared equals 4a squared minus a squared, which simplifies beautifully to AD squared equals 3a squared. Finally, to find the actual length of AD, we take the square root of both sides. The square root of 3, a squared simplifies to a times the square root of 3. Now, we have all three side lengths needed to calculate our trigonometric ratios in the next step. Deriving ratios for 30/circ $. Now that we have successfully calculated the length of the altitude, add $, in the previous slide, we have all the pieces of the puzzle needed to find our first set of ratios. Let's shift our focus specifically to the perspective of the 30° angle, which is angle bad $. To find the trigonometric ratios, we first need to identify our sides relative to this 30° angle. Looking at our triangle AB $, the side opposite to our 30° angle is BD $, which we know has a length of $1. The side adjacent to the 30° angle is the altitude we just solved for, add $, which is $1 times the square root of $3. Finally, our hypotenuse is the original side of our equilateral triangle, AB $, which is 2a$. With these lengths identified, we can now derive the primary trigonometric ratios. First, for sine 30°, we take the opposite side over the hypotenuse, which gives us $1 divided by 2a$. The $1 terms cancel out, leaving us with a final value of 1/2. Next, for cosine 30°, we take the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. That is $1 times the square root of $3, all divided by 2a$. Again, the $1 cancels out, and we are left with the square root of $3 over $2. Then, for tangent 30°, we use the ratio of the opposite side to the adjacent side. This gives us $1 divided by $1 times the square root of $3. After canceling the $1, we get 1 over the square root of $3. Finally, let's quickly determine the reciprocal ratios. The cosecant of 30° is simply the reciprocal of sine, so 1 divided by 1/2, which equals $2. The secant of 30° is the reciprocal of cosine, which gives us $2 over the square root of $3. And the cotangent of 30° is the reciprocal of tangent, which turns our fraction upside down to give us the square root of $3. Now that we have mastered the 30° ratios, in the next slide, we will perform the exact same process. But this time, we will look at the triangle from the perspective of the 60° angle. Deriving ratios for 60/circ $. Now that we have successfully derived the ratios for 30°, let's shift our focus. We are still working within the same right-angled triangle, triangle ABD, but this time, we are going to look at it from the perspective of angle B, which is 60°. First, let's identify our sides relative to this 60° angle. The side opposite to 60° is the altitude we calculated in the previous step, which is AD, or a times the square root of 3. The side adjacent to our 60° angle is BD, which is simply A, and, as we established earlier, our hypotenuse is the side AB, which has a length of 2A. With these side lengths identified, we can calculate our primary trigonometric ratios. For sine 60 degrees, we take the opposite side over the hypotenuse, which gives us a times the square root of 3 divided by 2a. Notice how the cancels out, leaving us with the square root of 3 over 2. For cosine 60 degrees, we take the adjacent side over the hypotenuse, which is a divided by 2a again, the cancels, leaving us with 1/2. And for tangent 60 degrees, we take the opposite side over the adjacent side, which is a times the square root of 3 divided by a. The a cancels out, leaving us with just the square root of 3. Finally, let's determine the reciprocal ratios. The cosecant of 60 degrees is the reciprocal of sine, so it becomes 2 over the square root of 3. The secant of 60 degrees is the reciprocal of cosine, which gives us 2. And the cotangent of 60 degrees is the reciprocal of tangent, which simplifies to 1 over the square root of 3. As you might notice, these values are very closely related to the 30-degree ratios we just finished. In fact, you'll see this beautiful symmetry in our summary slide later on. Real-world application example. Now that we have established the exact values for our trigonometric ratios through our geometric derivation, let's apply this knowledge to a practical, real-world scenario. Imagine an engineer is designing a support beam for a roof. The beam is positioned such that it forms a 60-degree angle with the horizontal ceiling. We know the length of the beam itself, which acts as our hypotenuse, is 10 meters. Our goal is to determine the vertical height of this support. To solve this, let's follow a structured, step-by-step approach. First, we must identify our given values. We have an angle theta, which is 60 degrees. The hypotenuse, representing the beam's length, is 10 meters. Our unknown variable is the vertical height, which, as we identified in our previous slides, corresponds to the side opposite to our 60-degree angle. Second, we need to select the most appropriate trigonometric ratio. Since we are working with the hypotenuse and we need to find the opposite side, the sine ratio is the correct choice. We will use the formula. Sine of 60 degrees equals the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. Third, we substitute our known values into this equation. Using the exact value we derived earlier in this lesson, we replace sine of 60 degrees with the square root of 3 over 2. So, the square root of 3 over 2 equals the height divided by 10. Finally, we solve for the height. To isolate the height, we multiply 10 by the square root of 3 over 2. This simplifies to 5 times the square root of 3 meters. If we use the decimal approximation, where the square root of 3 is roughly 1.732, we find that the vertical height is approximately 8.66 meters. This demonstrates how the exact values we just derived are essential for performing precise calculations in engineering. Key takeaways. First, remember the foundation of our entire derivation. All these trigonometric ratios for 30 degrees and 60 degrees originate from that single equilateral triangle we started with, which we defined as having a side length of 2a. By drawing that altitude, as we saw in the previous steps, we effectively split the equilateral triangle into 2 smaller, special right-angled triangles. These are known as 30-60-90-degree triangles, and they possess a very specific and constant ratio between their sides. The shortest side, the longer leg, and the hypotenuse always follow the ratio of 1 to square root of 3 to 2. Looking at our results, you should notice a beautiful symmetry between the 2 angles. You'll see that the sine of 30 degrees is exactly equal to the cosine of 60 degrees, both of which equal 1/2. Similarly, the sine of 60 degrees is equal to the cosine of 30 degrees, both resulting in the square root of 3 over 2. Finally, for your tangent values, keep in mind that tangent of 30 degrees is 1 over the square root of 3, while the tangent of 60 degrees is simply the square root of 3. Now that we have worked through the step-by-step derivation and seen how these values apply to real-world engineering problems, let's pause and summarize the key takeaways from today's lesson. As we move to our final slide, I want to highlight a few common pitfalls to avoid when you are working through these problems on your own. Common mistakes. Now, before we wrap up today's lesson, I want to touch upon some common pitfalls. Even if you understand the derivation, it is very easy to make small errors during exams, so please pay close attention to these 3 points. First, a very common mistake is confusing the opposite and adjacent sides. When you are working with our right-angled triangle, remember that the opposite side changes depending on which angle you are looking at. If you are focusing on the 30-degree angle, the opposite side is the shorter leg, which we labeled as a. However, if you switch your perspective to the 60-degree angle, that same side is now the adjacent side, and the side opposite to 60 degrees is the longer leg, which is a √3. Always double-check which angle is your reference point. Second, be careful not to identify the incorrect hypotenuse. I have seen students mistakenly use as the hypotenuse. But remember our construction from the beginning. We started with an equilateral triangle where each side was 2 Therefore, in our right-angled triangle, the hypotenuse is the original side of that triangle, which is 2 Finally, watch out for simple algebraic errors when using the Pythagoras theorem, specifically when squaring terms. When you square 2 you must remember to square both the coefficient and the variable, which gives you 4a squared, not just 2a squared. Keep these points in mind, and you will find that working with these trigonometric ratios becomes much more reliable.